Next speaker is Paul Palovich, Youngstown native, co-founder of PP&M, Prototypes, Parts, and More, and former Packard Delphi engineer, and he's going to tell us about what's going on with him. Thanks, Paul. Welcome, Paul.
PP&M, Prototype, Parts, and More is a division of Printing 3D Parts Incorporated. That's our parent company. But today's theme for Pecha Kucha is how each person can change the perspective of today's manufacturing environment. And our response is additive manufacturing as an enabler in the packaging industry. I retired from the auto industry, and very glamorous because you get to work on the new cars before they go into production. And I was approached about this opportunity, and I think most people take packaging for granted. I know I did. It's just there. And then after you use what's inside, you throw the package away. But with today's theme on how each person can change the perspective of today's manufacturing, that is, it's subtractive manufacturing, where you use a tool to use the material. This is a aluminum can production line, monstrous. It is just monstrous. You've got extrusion, trimming, lacquering, curing, base coat, printing, varnish, necking, shaping. Never shut it off. Once it starts, they never shut it off. It runs on 2 12-shift operations. And that's why it's so expensive to get cans made. Packaging does 5 basic functions. It protects the product, contains it, it provides information about the product, the utility of use, you open it up, you pour it out, or it has a lid. Number 5, the promotion. Here's a shelf at your grocery store. Bland packaging, it's just, I mean, nothing jumps out to me, either from the package shape or the label. It's just a bunch of tomato products, I guess. But things are changing, and packaging is now being used for promotion. You go to this soda aisle, first thing that jumps out at me is, whether I buy that or not, I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to look at it. Shaq's making faces at me. Monster used to catch my eye. I didn't even notice these, but they're using packaging. So what that means then, these packaging, or not packaging companies, but like Procter & Gamble, L'Oreal, these people that own the product, they're coming up with fantastic shapes, fantastic labels. So when you look at that shelf, something pops out, and like most people are going to look at it, notice it, maybe talk about it, hopefully buy it. But that's where we're going in the packaging industry, and we know this chart from every other industry. The design process, brainstorming may be a better word, nicer than dump, but then you empathize, which is you find out why people feel about the way they feel about something. You ideate, you get an idea, and then right here, develop and prototype, which you critique. And this is where we're applying additive manufacturing, because, surprise to me, it's one of the few industries that I found that didn't embrace 3D printing for prototypes. Packaging Digest and Spray Magazine says there's 7,000 containers are developed every year. I'm sorry, 10,000, and 17,000, or 7,000 are revised at 17,000. That 20 seconds is quick.
It's quick.
Yeah. So, 2 things. How is additive manufacturing an enabler in packaging? I'll answer that later. First one I'm going to answer now. Aren't container prototypes being made today without additive manufacturing? Yes. Manufactured on the existing container line that I showed you. Cost prohibitive. You have the tooling cost to shape your can, probably $150,000. It takes 20 weeks to make that tooling. Lithograph plates to decorate with the inks, $3,000. You have to do a minimum order commitment of 1 million cans. A minimum run is $50,000, and the cost to interrupt the production line $42,000. But you only need 5 prototypes. I don't know what design I'm going to do. Virtual reality, you can do it 2 ways. 3D goggles, where they, on the computer, will design your package on a shelf. You put the goggles on, you think you walk into a store, as if you're looking at one of those pictures I had earlier. Or CAD rendering, it's just virtual, nothing. So the third one is cut and paste. You could either, you get a close approximation of the final product. It's not an exact representation. Cut and paste of cardboard or whatever. You can maybe make a copy of a label, tape it on. You can CNC out of a block of aluminum if you want to represent an aluminum can. Maybe put a label on it, but they're not represented with the final product. So what we have done over the last couple of years, we took 9 manufacturing processes, 6 proprietary materials to make exact duplications of the final product as a prototype for the packaging industry, which is the only thing that customers will accept. Some of everything we do is proprietary, and we, because it's before things go into production, so we can't show the real things, but this is just a generic label. But we printed on multi-jet, which gives you an as-injected molded surface. This is an FDM, which you can see the print lines, and normally I use this slide for a less educated audience about additive manufacturing. Not acceptable because you can see those print lines through the label. The final product isn't going to look like that. This is the smooth multi-jet labeled, and this is just like a cookie tin where you either 3D scan, revise it for the developed, sometimes a customer has the STL for the developed container, print it. Now what we are doing now, and I'll show you in an upcoming slide, is we give it a brushed aluminum effect. Okay, here we go. This is what we're finally ready to go to market with. You print the bottle, this is a brushed aluminum effect. This is our labeled prototype, and this is the production that was you could buy off the shelf. So it ends up being an exact duplicate of the final production, not an approximation. And this is, of course, we do with additive manufacturing. So how can each person change the perspective? Well, we believe our perspective, rather than today's perspective, and these lines jump around, but everything instead of must does not have to be made by raw material being formed with a tool or cut by a tool. That's how we change the perspective of today's manufacturing. So we do believe in it. When I saw the title, I thought it was fantastic because this is the whole reason why we pursued starting our business. Paradigm shift is happening in the packaging industry, and with the prototype process, customers are saving time and money. And for that market size that I identified, those 17,000 different designs, it's about 125 additional 3D printers that would be needed to support that market. That otherwise, it wouldn't be a need for additive manufacturing in that market. So that's our story.